My next guest clearly does not get paid by the hours. He's coming off another first-round finish, this time over Mike Bredon at UFC Vegas 38. It's Alex Hernandez back here on the program. Alex, how's it going, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Happy to, happy to make a short night the other night, but definitely, just left kind of wanting more. I definitely didn't really fulfill the usual, fix of achievement. So just really looking forward to the next thing and trying to make it happen as quick as possible.
Well, you had your opponent switch up, right? You're supposed to take on Leo Santos. Mike Bredon steps in. How much of an adjustment was that for you going from Leo Santos to Mike Bredon?
There wasn't really time to make too much of an adjustment. I've been working on so many adjustments, just of myself, in ways that if I were an opponent, how would I defeat me? What would I look for? This fucking calf kick would be, a good start. And you start feigning those out a little better. It takes this time. It took one for me to get a little bit more privy to it. Last time it was like three, but I worked so much on trying to develop myself and take it from the other end of what are the common mistakes that I'm making I need to keep changing in my game, and then how do I need to evolve my game as a whole. And for my game in general, I need to work the blend. I can't stay one-dimensional on my feet for three plus rounds. I need to be constantly blending. I don't know if I said this last time, but I don't think I'm the best, at any particular facet of the game. But I do think I can be the best in the world at the blend, because I'm pretty damn good all around. And if I can use that and make guys work, then I can find advantages and edges in the game. So, in a lot of ways, that was the idea with Santos, was to make him work and then not stress the takedown too heavily, but find openings off of it. And that's what we essentially did against Bredon. So we were able to kind of translate it the same, and just try and develop myself and worked across both opponents.
Was it weird at all having James Krause in the opposite corner? I don't know how much you've worked with him at Factory X when he's come down there. How was that?
It was really weird. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. It's also why I don't feel I don't feel too much, because it just kind of felt a little dirty, almost like you just kind of hurt almost a cousin I hadn't really known very well before, because it's essentially what they are. That's like a cousin school or something. I don't know if sibling would be the word or not, but Krause would be kind of like an older sibling or something, because he's of course under Mark's tutelage as well, opened up his own school. I train with Krause on the road. He's always on the road. Mark's always on the road. I've been fortunate to be on the road with Mark a good handful of times now, and we always work together, and I've always kind of thought that in the back of my head, but what if? And I've always held myself back a little bit in that sense. But I didn't like it, but Krause is a professional and Mark didn't like it. Mark was a professional, and he was actually out hunting when all this was coming together, so he kind of got the news a little late and was a little upset. But it just happened out that way, and everybody handled it professionally, and we got the job done. And now I just wish nothing but the absolute best for Mike Bredon.
No bonus. Little surprised by that. That was a walk-off KO Mark Hunt style. I figured that would have done the trick.
Yeah, everybody thought that. Everybody thought that. I don't know if I don't know. This is really the only thing on the main card. So I think everybody thought that, especially whenever the main event finished. I was like, oh, cool, we got it. That's exciting. And then you got kind of shuffled out elsewhere. So I was kind of surprised by that, yeah.
How did you celebrate after the win?
I went straight back to my my poor manager's house, where I just defile his kitchen and living room set for a bit. Had a whole gang of friends that I've had since we were in middle school, and there's a mob of them, and they showed up. My parents showed up. Some relatives, my uncle, he's always at all my fights. Coach came out there with me. Coaches came out, and we had some celebratory toasts, and then we got absolutely. I got coaxed into going to this nightclub, which I'm not a big nightclub kind of guy, anyways. And normally, I would want to just go. I don't know, I probably would have. We're in Vegas, so I probably would have gone Old Town or something, and gone out over there where the locals are at. But I got coaxed into going to some new club with fucking DJ Tiesto, who I didn't know that guy was still kicking. Yeah, he still got a pulse. And went out there, and somehow we spent like 23 grand at this table between like 30 plus people maybe. And so my name's nowhere near that bill. I'm still waiting for someone to come knocking on my door for an invoice or something. So,
Wow.
yeah, for some repercussions of that. But yes, that was that night, and that was out of hand. And then now, today I look like a piece of stepped on bulgogi beef. Just kind of mush face right now. So I'm coming back.
You were on time for the interview though, and you made the time, so I got to appreciate that. It just shows you what a soldier you are, Alex. I appreciate it.
Of course. But yeah, we're back in Texas now, and so just right back to work. I'm trying to get another one quick. Jason House mentioned that could be a possibility. They always kind of say that, and I always take it seriously, and I'm always on. And after this fight, I didn't really expect it. I was just like, it probably won't happen until next year. And he pulled me aside, and he was like, we might be able to get a short notice. I'm pretty confident about it in the next couple of weeks. So I was like, okay, I can do that. So
were there any talk? I was just curious about this, just because his opponent fell out. Were there ever any talks of you fighting Islam Makhachev, who ended up who's now fighting Dan Hooker? But were you ever in those discussions? Just because I know he was looking for an opponent.
No, and I was actually thinking if I would be bold enough to just call him out after the fight, and then Hooker, Hooker took the fight during the week. Mm-hmm. But no, it was never an option or offer at the time, and maybe could have finagled it if there wasn't someone savage as Dan Hooker, who's going to step up back to back. But it was never brought to me though in that 5-week process.
And I guess one other name that kind of was sort of thrown out there, and it's interesting because he's a Glory guy as well, is Grant Dawson lost his opponent. I know Grant ended up getting a fight rebooked, but was there ever any talk of you guys fighting each other just because his opponent went out, Diego Ferreira, and your opponent went out too? Was that ever talked about?
Yeah, and there's a handful of guys, and I didn't really get to speak to any of them because I actually got the news a little bit later about Santos. They wanted to try to work it out on their end first without disrupting me too much. But Dawson's another guy from Krause's gym, like you said, another glory guy. The gym, not the promotion, just for people. And I think, and I don't want to misquote anybody or say, speak to anybody else, but I think that both sides were reluctant to make that match because you have two guys who are rising prospects, and it would be a shame to face them off versus giving a guy an opportunity to have a job. Yeah. Because I think that the idea was that these guys have jobs. This other guy wants this job. And when you want the job, you got to take those tall orders sometimes. And that's, I did that. That's what Mike did. And I think just the scenario was different. So.
Yeah, no worries. Just asking, obviously. Wanted to ask you about a couple of fights that are going on this weekend. We've got Matheus Nicolau, minus 188 on Fanduel, taking on Tim Elliot, someone I don't know if you trained with him when he's been at Factory X. Tim Elliott's the underdog here at plus 152. Who are you liking in that fight? Who do you think gets it done?
I don't know the opponent very well. Tim Elliot versus who?
Matheus Nicolau. So he's another guy like Tim who was released from the UFC, came back. He won his fight recently, and now he's fighting Tim. They're both flyweights. They've been obviously fighting for a while. Tim with a lot more experience.
The name strikes me. I was just such a bad fan for so long that there's no disrespect with times. I was just a terrible viewer of any sports. So I can't really speak on that, but. I want to give it to Tim regardless. Normally I got faith. Yeah.
For sure. And then the co-main event, same thing. You might not know the fighters here, but Randy Brown, welterweight fighter who's fought Mickey Gall, and he's just submitted Alex Oliveira recently. He's fighting Jared Gooden. Gooden's only got 3 UFC fights. Randy Brown, the favorite at minus 250, Jared Gooden plus 198. Do you give the edge to Randy just because of the UFC experience, or how do you look at that fight?
Is surface level as that was just presented, and that's how deep I know this matchup. I would say I'm going to give it towards the vet with the edge. I'd have to see how Gooden was winning because I have a pretty good intuition and eye for people and kind of the emotional roller coaster they might be undergoing in a fight just because I've done it so well. It's so familiar to me. Just battling demons during competition. And so I would have to see Gooden how he's been competing and appearing in his last 3 bouts. But especially with the betting favors, generally Vegas always wants to favor the up and comer. You know, they get on the hype train. They certainly like to make one. So with the odds that far against him, also I do want to go for the vet in this sense.
Okay, and then the main event, Mackenzie Dern taking on Marina Rodriguez. Dern minus 156, Marina Rodriguez plus 128. Marina's the girl who beat Michelle Watterson in the main event a little while back. We obviously know who Mackenzie Dern is. Who are you liking in that fight?
Yeah, I like Dern. You know, she seems to be putting her game together really well, and she seems to be gathering a lot of confidence and composure in the cage. So I like Dern.
Obviously, you mentioned it there. Want to stay on, standby just in case anything happens. Is there any opponents you're looking at, or you just sort of leave that up to your management and hopefully get one more in this year?
I'll leave that up to management. I'm pretty much open for anybody. Just if it's by the end of this year, I'll fight anyway. I'm really excited about it. So
Alex,
I'll take it.
Thanks for doing this, man. Always a pleasure. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
My team in Inglewood, Colorado, Factory X, and my team in San Antonio, Texas, Ohana Academy, Northeast is my gym personally. I'm going to be there all week this week. So just shout out to the OGs and, thanks to everybody who supports me.